Hey, we're live. It is Thursday, noontime on the East Coast, and time for our week number 10. So I'm going to give just another minute or so for folks to show up, and then we'll dive right in. And Jackie, you're in for a treat because this particular week relies heavily on Book Yourself Solid and the networking and direct outreach strategy, except we put a video spin on it. So, hi Ellie, awesome, glad to have you here. Happy Thursday if you're attending live, and if you're watching the recording, welcome as well. We are on week number 10, wow, of the Video Marketing Success System, also known as the Video Marketing Mentoring Program. So what I'm going to do, since we have our attendees, I believe you can see and hear the screen. I'm just going to go to the chat and just make sure that we're good there. And we will post that. Awesome. Okay, Jackie says she can see and hear. So awesome. We will jump right in then. All right, let me get on the right presentation here, which is week number 10. And this week, well, obviously we've gone through a lot already. We've done 9 previous weeks. I won't go through all this because we've done it before, but I do want to remind you that every recording and every webinar from all of the modules is in the membership area, and that link is on the Facebook group. And I also email it to you. So where were we? Last week we're on Module 5, which is about video engagement and client attraction. So last week we talked a lot about sales pages and video sales pages, an important ingredient, obviously, in the big mix. And this week, week number 10, we'll talk video outreach and video networking. So engaging your prospects and clients with video is the best way to stay top of mind with your folks and stand out in a very competitive market. So this week we're going to explore video outreach and video networking to further leverage your time so that you can engage and attract more of your ideal clients. And as I mentioned, a lot of this particular presentation this week relies heavily on Book Yourself Solid. And yes, Jackie, the Book Yourself Solid Illustrated is the same as the Book Yourself Solid original book. It's just, in my way of thinking, it's a lot more fun to read, and it's easier, and obviously a lot more visual because it's illustrated. That's one of the few books I keep at my side here on my desk because it's so helpful. So what is video outreach and video networking? That's what we're going to talk about today. We're also going to look at how to use outreach and networking strategies, and I'm going to share some video outreach tools and resources. Jackie already has some of these, I believe. We're going to look at the Book Yourself Solid networking strategy and the Book Yourself Solid direct outreach strategy, especially as it relates to video marketing. And in case you're listening to the recording, or in case you don't know, I am a Book Yourself Solid certified coach and have been since the very beginning. I was in the very first class of certified coaches taught by Michael Port, and a big believer in the system. And I basically try and put a video spin or a visual spin on a lot of the stuff that they do there. So if you're familiar with Book Yourself Solid, some of this is going to seem is going to resonate, I think, and really seem to make sense for you. If not, you'll learn some new stuff. So video outreach essentially is just using video to break through the clutter. There's a lot going on online. We get a ton of emails. We get all kinds of, we get hit from every side with everything. And video is a really good way to break through the clutter. It's a great way to create a unique and memorable way to make an impression, because it is personal, engaging, and direct. It's just so much more upfront and sort of in your face than just a written blog post or an email. When I talk about connecting with video, I'm talking about everything from video email to video e-zines, or at least including video in your newsletters or e-zines. I'm talking about things like video messaging, like Snapchat and Vine, which we'll get into a bit more, and also video chat like Skype and Google Hangout. And again, with both Skype and Google Hangout, you can kind of talk face-to-face with folks over the internet. And with Google Hangout, we're using it here more as a broadcast medium, but you can also use Google Hangouts, as I'll explain, for video calls or video conferencing, where they're kind of private and they're not going to several people, but just to a handful. All right, so video outreach, when would you use it? Well, I find it's best with one-to-one personal outreach, where you can create customized video contact. It's also really good for reaching hard-to-reach prospects, partners, or influencers. So if I was trying to get a hold of somebody who's, you know, a bigwig or something, and maybe they're an author, and you know, just an email is not going to get their attention. Even if you ping them on Facebook, it may not get their attention. But if you create a personalized video message and send it via video email to them, that's really going to go a long way in being able to get their attention. So it's a good way to make a strong and lasting first impression. It's perfect when you can't be there in person, and you got to think of it as like a conference or an event where you're speaking via satellite, except in this case you're speaking via video. You can also use the outreach for webcasts or live events, things like Google Hangouts or Skype, where you can broadcast one-to-many or one-to-one. I like video outreach, especially when it is one-to-one, because you can make it that much more personal and customized. So generally speaking, video outreach is something like video email, if you want to make a real impression on someone and send them a video email. It is leveraging Google Hangouts to make your outreach more personal and engaging, because anyone can do a teleseminar and anyone can get on the phone and just basically do a teleseminar where you're sharing information or coaching or whatever you may be doing. But Google Hangouts, is going to make that a lot more powerful, because you have the visual element, and you can show slides or share your screen like I'm doing here, or you can be on camera if you prefer. In most cases, when I'm doing Google Hangouts, I go straight to my slides like I am here, and I just share my screen, so you're seeing what I'm seeing. The other thing that's great about video outreach is that it's really personal, and it's really the polar opposite of an email blast. So where email blasts are generic and not very customized and to the masses, video outreach tends to be a lot more one-on-one, personal, and obviously more engaging, because you're speaking to one person most of the time. So I use video outreach, and some of the examples of ways that you can use it are to use video email to make that more personal connection. If you have a JV partner in mind, if you have somebody that you'd love to speak with, I'll give you an example, not in the slides here, but my friend Felicia Slattery wanted Michael Port to write the foreword of her book called Kill the Elevator Speech. And she didn't really know Michael personally. I knew him, and I knew Felicia. And she decided to send him a personal email, video email. So Felicia grabbed me, and we at a conference we were at, and we were in an elevator, and she and I did a quick message to Michael saying, hey, we're in an elevator because we talking about Felicia's book, Kill the Elevator Speech, and would be thrilled if you'd write the foreword for it. Now, Michael gets requests like these constantly, but because the video and the request was so personal and so engaging and so different, because it was a video email, he agreed to write the foreword for her book. So this stuff works, and it's a great way to reach people that are hard to reach. A Google Hangout is like a video chat, which is also great for direct one-to-one contact. I've done Google Hangouts with one person. I've done Google Hangouts with 100 people, so it's very flexible. Video messaging allows you to create individual customized video messages, and you can do that with things like Instagram, where you can create a quick 15-second greeting or update. You can also use, it's not really low tech, but it is very much available. Things like FaceTime on the iPhone or video chat to make a stronger connection. So if you make a Skype call, you can actually make that a Skype video call so both parties can see each other, and it can make for a really, better relationship and stronger connection. So again, I encourage you to use video as part of your overall keep in touch strategy. It's really important to stay in touch with folks and maintain those relationships with them, so at some point they can become a JV partner or a client or a customer. So when I talk about video outreach via email, one of my favorite services to do this, and one of the ones that I use, is called mailview.com, mailvu.com. Maybe I can put that in the chat. Let me just see here. Oh, awesome. Dot's here. Ellie's here. Mike's here. Jackie's here. Excellent. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. So glad you're here. We are talking video outreach. And today, and right now, we're talking about video outreach via email using a free tool called mailview.com. So, Mike, I would imagine Mike deals with car dealerships and things like that, and obviously they get a lot of mail and a lot of texts and a lot of information coming at them. But I would imagine that if you send a video email or a video message to some of your clients or prospects, it's really going to stick out and they're going to remember it because it is so different. It is so engaging, and with these easy tools like MailView, you can basically record a message from your webcam, even from your iPhone actually, and you can record a message of up to 10 minutes and send that to one or more people and really have a great engaging way. I call it a video postcard, but just have a way to send video postcards. I forgot that I came up with that thing, so I'm going to write that down before I forget. Video postcard. All right, so MailView is one that you may want to try. When the recipient receives it, they get something like this in their email box. They get a thing that says, you've got video mail, and in this case I was sending it to my friend Kellyanne because we had a coaching session. Great talking with you yesterday, blah, blah, blah. And she clicks on my little picture there, and my video message plays for her right in the email. And again, it's really informal. I didn't bother to really clean the office or anything. I was just in front of my green screen because these are just made to be really one-on-one, video messages that are relatively informal. So that's mailview.com. They do have different plans if you think you're going to use this a lot. It does have a free trial. I've been using the free version. There's a basic version that's just $2.50 a month. The nice thing about that is you can upload pre-recorded videos. I usually do mine just live and on the fly. And then they also have business plans for more money if you really want to use all the bells and whistles. But you can do 10-minute messages on mailview.com, and you can do video messages up to 10 minutes. iJot.com, which is EYEJOT.com, is another service that does essentially the same thing. It just makes it very easy to send video email from your computer, from your phone, from your tablet. You can see here I had somebody was sending me video emails from iJot. I was sending video emails to various people, testing it out. And again, it works pretty much like MailView. You just record the message, send it to the person that you want, and then you'll know when they received it. So that's iJot. They also have a smartphone app called iJot V Cards, which are like video business cards. Now again, I haven't used this a lot, but it might be a really cool way to send a video business card after a meeting, or maybe you were at a networking event and you meant to give somebody a business card but you ran out or you didn't have one. iJot will let you do these video business cards right from your phone. So that's kind of a neat little feature as well. iJot, like MailView, also has a free version And you can do quite a bit with the free version. You can do up to 5 minutes. And they also have pro plans starting at $30 a year that give you a few more bells and whistles. But honestly, I mean, MailView gives you 10 minutes. iJot gives you 5 minutes. I rarely do a video email that's longer than a minute long, because mine are just like, you know, hey, great to see you at the event last week. I look forward to staying in touch. Don't forget to send me that proposal. You know, just little video messages. So usually they're pretty short and sweet. Yet another version that I also use and I like quite a bit is called vsnap.com. VSNAP.com. Oh, Mike says he used mailview.com and got a few people to sign up for his fixed ops call. That's awesome. See, it's just that personal outreach and that personal engagement that makes it a lot more powerful, I think. Certainly more powerful than email, and frankly, I would do it more often if I was, you know, if I was more camera ready. So I'm going to have to clean up and do some video emails. So vSnap is pretty cool as well. I find it is also easy to use. There's also a free version. They have really high-end versions as well. I don't know that you'd need anything that elaborate, but they also have a plan for $3 a month. And I believe they only give you a minute of time to do each of your video emails, which honestly is you know, usually enough, because you're just usually doing a quick greeting or reminder. So vSnap is yet another version that you can use to do video email. Now, the thing about Google Hangouts, which we're doing right here, is a lot of times people think Google Video Hangouts are a broadcast medium where it's one-to-many. Like I'm doing the Hangout and I'm doing it to our class of, you know, 3 or 4 people. But there's 2 different kinds of Hangouts. There's a Hangout on air, which is what this is, which is more of a webcast or a broadcast. And then there's plain old video Hangouts, which are really more like video chat. So the other day when I had to do a coaching session, I did just a video Hangout, so it was just us 2. And it was not broadcast to the world, and it was not put up on YouTube. Only the Hangouts on air are, you know, quote-unquote public and are sent to my YouTube account and sent to all to my Google Plus account, which I then go and make it private because I don't want everybody else to see this. So Hangouts is an easy way to connect via video. You can talk to up to 10 people on camera and have up to 10 people participate on camera, and either privately or publicly. And if you do a Google Hangout on air, then just know that it is available publicly. So theoretically, we could all be on camera here. I know that puts additional pressure on people, so I don't, you know, usually offer that option. But it's a great way to do a panel discussion or a meeting or a group chat or a conference call where you want to see the people in all different locations. I've been on these where I've been interviewed with 3 or 4 other people, and we've had 5 people on the Hangout. It can be a little hard to manage, but it is pretty intuitive and pretty easy to do. You have other video chat options. In fact, there are dozens of video chat options if you do want to just get a couple people on camera and do a video chat. I found this Pinterest board on best free video conferencing tools for 2014, and some of them are fairly obvious. Skype is probably the most popular and the most widely used, and that is a free video conferencing service for up to 10 people. Awesome Talk is another one. Obviously, Google Hangouts is another one. So there are tons of ways to do video chat and video conferencing. I say find one that you like, whether that's Google Hangouts or Skype or whatever, and stick with that. There's no need to have to try and do a million different things. So let's talk a little bit about networking strategy now, and this is where we get a little bit more into the Book Yourself Solid philosophy. Hold on, let me just check and see what Jackie has to say here. She says she's having the same issue with not seeing the slides. I registered for the webinar using the link provided and got the congratulations, you're registered notice. Let me put in another link that may bring you directly to this presentation that we're doing right now. Because you have to go in the drop-down menu, you have to select the exact date, August, whatever it is here, to get that particular webinar, the August 14th webinar. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the Hangout and I'm going to post a link that will hopefully take you to this very webinar where we're talking about networking strategy, Jackie. So hoping that one is going to do the trick. Let me put it up here as well. All right, so I'll go back to my networking slide here, and I've got my little shout out to Book Yourself Solid. The idea of networking is to add value and expand your network without schmoozing or manipulating. You don't want to be the used car salesman, I guess. You know, I don't mean that in a derogatory sense, but a lot of times people think of networking as like, hey, how you doing? Here's my business card. Give me a call. We'll just, you know, it's not like that. You really have to come from a service mentality, and you want to provide genuine value to others. You want to listen more than you speak, and obviously at the end of the day, it's about making a connection. So I know when I worked in Hollywood, in La La Land, you'd go to these networking events and it'd be a total schmooze fest. In fact, I even went to an event called Schmooze Fest, if you can believe that. And it really wasn't about making connections. It was almost like a contest to see who could hand out and collect the most business cards. And at the end of the day, I would rather make a connection, you know, and really connect with 1 or 2 people than hand out 25 business cards to people I'm never going to talk to again. So think of it that way, especially in the Book Yourself Solid philosophy. It's really about coming from a service mentality and providing value to others. In Book Yourself Solid, we like to use the 50-50 networking rule so that you'll have multiple winners, and I'll tell you about that in a moment. And we also like to share our intangibles. We share who we know, what we know, and how we feel. So again, it's not just like, hey, how you doing? What do you do? Where do you work? What can you do for me? It's, you know, oh, by the way, you know, I hear you're a yoga instructor and my sister's been looking for one, so let me introduce you to, or let me connect you to so-and-so. So you share who you know, what you know, and how you feel. You can also take it up a notch by sharing books, articles, and videos of interest to your network. And I'll show you some software that I use that makes it really easy for me to share articles. Like yesterday, I just sent out an article, hi Rocco, that I had written for Cal Roth's blog, and I just sent it out to a bunch of folks, you know, not looking for anything, just to say, hey, I thought you might appreciate this. I thought this might be helpful for you. So you can use formal and informal networking opportunities to enhance your connection factor. And the 50-50 networking rule that Michael Port talks about in Book Yourself Solid, and that we practice as Book Yourself Solid coaches, is that 50% of your efforts should be to prospects or prospective clients, and 50% of your efforts should be to colleagues. And the reason we do it that way is that a lot of people think of networking as just finding new business or finding customers. But if you share 50% of your efforts to prospects and the other 50% to colleagues, those colleagues can become referral sources or strategic partners or, you know, who knows what. But it's important also to network with colleagues and not just possible customers. And when we talk about sharing your intangibles, what we mean is sharing your knowledge freely, sharing your network with people, sharing who you know, and sharing your compassion. Again, just being empathetic. Empathetic? Yeah, that's how you say that. And really just, you know, trying to listen and understand people rather than just kind of schmoozing. So again, it's not about the business cards. You want to share who you know, what you know, and how you feel. So you share your network, your contacts, you introduce people, you can share your ideas, your wisdom, or your advice. And that doesn't mean you force your political or religious views on people. You just openly and genuinely share something of value with the other people. And of course, you can also share your compassion and your empathy, which, if you do it genuinely, is going to really increase your likability factor. You guys are already very likable, but you know, you can always, it always helps to be as likable as possible. Let me take a quick look at the questions before we proceed. All right, let's keep going. So when we talk about sharing your network, what does that really mean? I mean, you may have a list of colleagues, you know, and I used to think, okay, this is my closely guarded list of colleagues and VIPs and bigwigs. But if you think about sharing those people, and think of the people who support you with referrals and advice and connect them with those who could bring them value, it really turns it into a win-win and a two-way street. And the way that Book Yourself Solid suggests that you do this is you look for 5 people in your network who continually support you. So if you think of the 5 people who are just kind of always there for you and always ready to help, and then if you think of 5 people who you know who could add value to their work or life, either as a potential client, a business partner, or a vendor, then connect them. So, you know, I like to try and do that. People do it for me, but I may think, oh, you know, this is a person who's in my network and who's a colleague, and I want to introduce them to the guy at Udemy because they should be doing a course on Udemy. So, I'm just trying to share. I don't really necessarily have anything to gain by introducing them to the person at Udemy, other than I think it would be a good match and a good fit. So share your network, think of the people who support you, and try to make connections with them or to them for people who would support them. Share your network. Think of people, oops, you know what? This is the same exact slide. Whoops, double slide, so we'll keep going here. And also, in terms of expanding your network, you have to step out of your comfort zone and connect with new people, new groups, and new professions. So I have a difficult time with this, being an introvert. I really have a hard time forcing myself to connect with new people and new groups. So what I do, I'll give you another real-life example. Next week or the week after, I'm going to a conference in Orlando that I've never been to before. I don't know anyone there. I'm not speaking at it. I just thought, you know what, this seems to be a group, a marketing group that you know, I may be able to be of service to, or I may have some potential clients there. So I am forcing myself outside my comfort zone, going to a place where I don't know anybody, and I'm going to just basically suck it up and do some networking. So list 5 types of professions not yet in your network, but who would expand and benefit your network, and start to think about reaching out to them. So it could be geographically, it could be demographically, it could just be a group who you think, you know, hey, I work with wellness professionals, but I could sort of expand that into holistic health or something, you know, whatever it may be. Feel free to start to expand. Then list ideas for where you may find them, whether that's at conferences, events, forums, social networks, Facebook groups. It's fairly easy to find those niches and those places. For this one, somebody told me about, you know, oh, you've got to go to this Marketing Mayhem event in Orlando, and I thought, oh man, last thing I need is another trip. But again, I didn't know anybody there. It seemed like people that I may want to hang out with and network with, so I'm off. All right, so expand your network. Share what you know. Send books, articles, or videos to appropriate contacts. You don't want to, you know, hit them over the head with stuff and send them a gazillion things, but every once in a while, if you see an article that you think someone might appreciate, or you have a video that you might want to pass along, you can do that. You can also make a list of must-read books for your target and select a contact that book would help. So I should do more of this, but if I'm talking about Book Yourself Solid and I think that it may help people, I should send a copy of, you know, Book Yourself Solid Illustrated to certain folks. You can sort of do the, I saw this article or video and immediately thought of you. Yesterday what I did was I said, I wrote this article because I had an article that I had written, and I thought you'd benefit or appreciate it. It was about YouTube. Send a book with a card to VIP contacts. That makes a big impression. send an article or forward a video daily. I don't know that I certainly wouldn't do it to the same person daily, but I would make a habit of sending articles or videos to different people every day. You can also use a tool, I believe Jackie's using it, and I'm using it, called Contactually, to manage your network. So I'll tell you a little bit about that in a moment. But what Contactually does is sort of makes it systemized and automated, somewhat automated, to do all these things like share articles, videos, introduce people, etc. And I also think that we should think of networking as two different kinds of networking. There's formal networking and there's informal networking. Just going to stop to take a drink. You can use formal and informal networking to enhance your connection factor, and you should list opportunities for connections in both informal and formal settings that will add value and enhance your network, because you are always networking. This is something that I need to work on personally, that you're always networking. And what I sometimes don't realize is that if I'm at a baseball game with my son, or he's playing a baseball game and I'm in the stands, I'm still with 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 people. And I'm probably not thinking of that as an informal networking opportunity, but it really could be, because if you get into a conversation with somebody, you never know. One of the baseball parents or the soccer moms could be a potential colleague or prospect. So you are always networking, and whether it's in line at the grocery store or at a social event, those are always opportunities to network. Again, not to schmooze or manipulate, but to genuinely make connections. Next slide, please. As far as networking events, which I loathe, and I have to force myself to do this, again, my introvert coming out, the best thing you can do at networking events is to relax and be yourself, focus on giving rather than getting, introduce yourself to the person hosting the event. This is really good, because if you can, maybe you get there early, or maybe you see the person that's kind of the boss or the MC, person running the event. It's always good to introduce yourself to that person, because that's going to kind of connect you right to the top person at the event. You want to prepare for the event, the usual stuff. You want to look good. You want to be mentally prepared. You want to have your business cards or whatever. Introduce yourself to the big wigs at the event, but maybe that's a speaker or a panel. A lot of people like to go up to the panelists after an event and say hello and make those connections. Offer praise or share helpful info. You don't want to gossip or be talking anybody down at a networking event. Totally bad form. Start conversations by asking questions. And the question shouldn't be, oh my God, I can't believe you wore that in public. It should be something nice, like start conversations by asking questions. It could just be like, wow, I saw you on the panel up there, and I noticed you talked about blah, blah, blah. What do you think of blah, blah, blah? So, you got to take the initiative. You've got to try and be inclusive and include everyone in the conversation. And then just, politely ask for a business card and stay in touch. Now, none of this is sleazy or manipulative or schmoozy. It's just, good old-fashioned human-based networking. Now, as far as social networking, this one's pretty obvious. Social media has really created an entirely new way to connect to anyone, anywhere, anytime. And that's both a good thing and a bad thing. It's really easy for me to hide behind Facebook and do my networking there, but it's still about relationships, and it's still not, in this case, about mass marketing. It's about networking. It's about relationships. So when you are doing your social networking, just remember that it's still about the people and not about the numbers. As far as direct outreach strategy, this is a little bit of a different promotional strategy from Book Yourself Solid. And it's a little bit different than networking, because direct outreach is reaching out directly to prospective clients and referral partners without being pushy or spammy. And you really have to earn their attention and not demand it. Michael says people won't listen to unsolicited outreach. because it's, it shouldn't be like, hey, I've got this insurance policy I want to talk to you about, and you really need it. It's unsolicited outreach. You really have to make your first contact focused on them in a personal way. So it really should be outer directed and selfless and not selfish. But again, if you make it focused on them in a personal way, you're on the right track. So I think it's Seth Godin that also says, don't be the noise that interrupts their quiet. You don't want to be that, person that's hounding somebody or hammering them with emails they don't want. You want to avoid sending an outreach method that breaks down. A lot of times, if you're doing form letters or real mass marketing that's not the least bit customized, it's going to kind of break down. In the Book Yourself Solid system, we also talk about the vital approach to ensure your messages are acted upon. That's VITL, and I'll explain what that means in a moment. You also want to create your list of 20, which I will explain. Reach out, track your efforts, and follow up. So remember, with direct outreach, you'll crash and burn if your first outreach smacks of self-promotion. Your first outreach or your first contact with that person or prospect should focus on them in a personal way, so no form letters. And you want to show up prepared. I mean, obviously, if you do your homework and you know something about that person, it's going to be a lot better. I know, and this even works in the world of, whether it's job seeking or like my son right now who's looking at colleges and playing baseball and trying to get recruited. We send emails to the coaches of baseball teams at colleges that focus on them. It's not like, oh my God, I'm a great shortstop, you need me for your team. It's, hey, I noticed, you guys had a great season, but you've got a shortstop graduating this year. I'm a great shortstop who bats 400 and blah blah blah. Maybe we should talk. Something that focuses on them and benefits them in a personal way. So do your homework. Be authentic and transparent. You don't want to have a hidden agenda, and use the VITL VITL approach, which stands for valuable, individualized, targeted, and legitimate. And that's the VITL acronym: valuable, individualized, targeted, and legitimate. And if you make your outreach with those 4 things in mind, you're going to be way ahead of everybody else who's just schmoozing and things like that. I see a quick question here from Jackie. When you network with colleagues, aren't you in direct competition with them? Not really. I mean, it depends on who those colleagues are. I mean, I go to a conference sometimes called NAMS in Atlanta, and those people are all online marketers, and in a sense, they're all doing what I'm doing, selling products and services and courses and coaching online. But I don't really see it as competition. In fact, I know another video guy, Mike Stewart, who I met there, and I do a lot of networking with him, go to dinner, hang out, have a few laughs, and we promote each other. Even though we both do video stuff, I promote what he's doing, he promotes what I'm doing, and everybody wins. There's plenty to go around, and we really look at it as co-opetition rather than competition. So hopefully that answers that question. Jackie also wants to know if I'm going to the Mastermind Conference in Orlando in October. I don't know what that is, Jackie, so I guess I'm not going. I'm going to Los Angeles in October to a Book Yourself Solid meeting. I'm going to something called Marketing Mayhem in August in Orlando. So that's my travel schedule. So Jackie says, in doTERRA we share a lot of information and have good relationships with other wellness advocates who aren't related to us, but bottom line, we all compete with each other on another level too. That's true. I mean, at some point you do, you are competing with everybody for the same dollars maybe, but I really prefer to look at it as, there's enough to go around. You want to be ready to connect with that person, that colleague. Again, it may be somebody who is kind of higher up on the food chain to you, who can introduce you to people or give you referrals. So think about what motivates that person. What have they accomplished? What common interests might you have? Again, I was just talking to a recruiting person for my son, and he mentioned that he went to Boston College, and I said, oh, I went to Boston College. So we both graduated from the same school. So yeah, you'll find common interests that you can touch upon. Excuse me. Who are the person's peers? What unique benefits do you offer to that person? What excites you about knowing or working with them? What do you believe is possible for the person? It's funny because again, I've been having conversations with another person who's a personal trainer in Los Angeles, and when I think, okay, well, what excites me about knowing or working with them? Well, that personal trainer is working with NFL quarterbacks and Major League Baseball players. So how cool would that be? So that's kind of like, you know, what excites me about working with them? Well, they have some pretty cool clients. So I have to think about what unique benefits do I offer to that person that could help them out. What do you believe is possible for the person? What is your current status in the person's life? Have you met them at an event? Do you have a connection with them? What kind of connection is it? And how can you become an indispensable asset to that person? I think, you know, it's funny because when I've known Michael Port, who does the Book Yourself Solid, for many, many years, and I think over the course of time, you know, we've become indispensable to each other. But you know, again, I found a way that I could help him with stuff that he didn't do, whether it was video stuff or just, you know, helping him with his video strategies or videotaping. So, you know, that's kind of how it started, and it evolved into a friendship after we sort of, you know, were doing more of a service-based stuff. Okay, so your list of 20. In the Book Yourself Solid system, we also talk about a list of 20. We list 20 people who don't know you but could help you. You also want to identify a list of at least 3, but no more than 20 people who you'd like to reach out to personally and directly and develop a professional relationship with. So again, my list of 20 might include other video people, maybe, or it could include colleagues who've been doing this a lot longer than me. It could be really anybody, but you want to sort of identify those people who you can help and maybe can help you down the line. You want to look for influencers in your target market. These can be prospective clients, they can be decision makers, they can be people in the media or the press. Really important. Again, if somebody was going to do a big story for you, either locally or nationally, that could have a pretty serious impact on your business. So think about that list of 20, and don't just think of it in terms of, you know, I'd really like to get 20 more paying clients. They can be colleagues, decision makers, influencers, you know, press or media people. So keep an open mind about that list of 20. And then you use your direct outreach strategy every day with that list of 20. And these are theoretically the 20 people who could have a significant impact on your business, so you want to do it consistently. I'm not as consistent as I need to be, but because I didn't see my usual friends and contacts at NAMS this last August because I didn't go, I've been emailing them or sending them quick notes or texts or whatever just to stay on their radar, because a lot of those people are on my list of 20. If you get creative, you might grab their attention in a positive way. I do that a lot of times, and you've seen some of these where I put people's pictures on billboards and things like that and then post them on Facebook. And that's just one thing, but you can list 3 wild, wacky, and unique ways to make a personal connection, especially with anyone you've had trouble reaching in traditional ways. Now again, if I wanted to reach Marie Folio, who's another, you know, top online marketer person, I could either ask somebody like Michael to introduce me to her, or I could do something unique, like put her face on a billboard or something unique and creative, and use that as possibly a way to you know, make that connection and start a conversation. So if you're going to have a direct outreach plan, again, you want to identify the individual you're reaching out to, choose the steps you'll take to connect with them, create a schedule for these initiatives, execute the plan, and then evaluate the plan and see if it actually worked. Earlier I mentioned a tool that I use and Michael uses and many of us use to help our keep in touch strategy, and it's called Contactually, and it's really made with the keep in touch strategy in mind. I've listed, you can just go straight to Contactually. I've listed my affiliate link here. If you're interested in getting it through my link, it's bortone.com/keep in touch with dashes. So the keep in touch strategy is very important, and Contactually is a great piece of software, very reasonable. I think I paid $20 a month, and it really keeps my contacts organized and also reminds me who I need to follow up with and who I need to stay in touch with, or maybe who I've fallen out of touch with. So it's promoted also by Michael and Book Yourself Solid because it plays so nicely and just is a perfect fit for the Book Yourself Solid direct outreach and networking strategy. And as Michael says, it's an app that builds your network and gets you booked solid. So they also have apps for the Android and for the iPhone. You can use it on your laptop. You can use it with Gmail. It integrates with just about everything. So I love it because I dumped all my Gmail contacts into Contactually and organized them into groups, or what they call buckets. And I can do individual mails or group mails to certain people based on certain criteria. So it's nice also because it pulls in all of your activity from Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn, and that way you know, oh, I just even though I haven't emailed this person for a while, I just sent them something on Facebook, so I don't need to touch base with them again. It just kind of keeps all of your platforms in one place so that you can keep it organized and everything's integrated, and you can make sure that you know who you're talking to about what at what time. So let me take a page out of my Contactually, my actual Contactually software here, and you can see that on this particular day it said follow up with Nicola Bird. You have her in top colleague outreach. You last spoke with her on January 27th, and you can choose to follow up or you can skip it. It says follow up with Kim Castle, last spoke on January 27th. So it gives you all that information, and if you click on this person, it's going to show you your last conversations with them. So it's kind of a client relationship or contact relationship management system. It's kind of a CRM system, but it really works more like the direct outreach strategy because you can have your list of 20 in here, and you can, decide how to follow up with them. So when I click follow up, I could send them an article, I could just send them a note, I could introduce them to someone. So I have all these different options and ways to reach out and connect and touch upon these folks who maybe I haven't talked to in a long time. And you set it up like you say, I want to talk to Kim Castle every quarter, or I want to talk to Pamela Slim every 6 months. So that's how often it'll pop up and say, hey, you haven't talked to Pamela in 6 months, you better get on it, follow up with her. So I love Contactually. I'll show you that link one more time. For staying in touch with people, I use it every day, and it's just a good way to have that keep in touch strategy and have that direct outreach strategy working for you without having to constantly remember who you talk to when and when you have to talk to somebody else. All right, quick drink, and we'll look towards next week, which is Module 6, our sixth and final module in the final 2 weeks. So next week we start to really pull everything together, and we'll look at video marketing strategy and talk about video editorial calendars. We'll also discuss how to take the overwhelm out of video and try and start to talk about how to make the process more quick and more painless so that video is not a pain in the butt, but something that is almost second nature. So next week, week 11, video strategy and video calendar. We'll be back live as we are today. I'm going to check the question box before I proceed into anything else here, just to double check and see who's with us. All right, we got a good crowd here. Dot, Ellie, Jackie, Mike, excellent. Thank you again for being here. I'm going to take a quick look at the chat box and see if there are any questions that I may have missed. Jackie says she loves making introductions through contactually. It may not directly result in getting new business, but I am making new friends. And you'd be surprised because I have people that I've introduced through contactually. One of the nice things about contactually is they'll give you the template to introduce two people. So I can say, if I wanted to introduce these two people, I could say, hey, Nicola, do you know Jody? She does websites, blah, 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 blah. Thought you might be able to help her. Jody, Nicola does a website called Jigsaw Box. You guys should talk. Here's your contact info. Boom, done. You've introduced the people. And, you know, it may not lead to anything, or it may lead to something where, you know, hey, I appreciate the fact that you introduced me to her. Here's somebody that might be a good client for you. So it's just kind of what goes around comes around, and that's kind of networking 101. So it may not be a direct kind of thing, but it may come back later on like good karma and help you with clients. So that's the networking and direct outreach strategy. Borrowed heavily from Book Yourself Solid. As I'm a Book Yourself Solid coach, I can happy to teach that stuff. And I think that's going to wrap us up for today. As you know, you can always get a hold of me. Actually, it's pretty hard to get a hold of me by phone, but email is usually good. vip@bortone.com. I see that some of you, I know Mike is on my schedule coming up. Dot, I talked to last week or the week before. So that's awesome. Take advantage of those one-on-one coaching calls. Jackie, I think I talked to fairly recently, but you know, we'll talk again soon. We'll be back next week with more when we are looking at week number 11. And in the meantime, everything's in the membership area. I'm going to put that up here one more time. HTTP. So you can always go there and get the recordings, review the recordings. You can find some handouts, some bonus tutorials. makingvideos.com, mentoring. You don't need a password or anything, just don't share that with the rest of the world. So that should take you right to the, takes you right to the members area where you can find all the modules, all the info, and everything. So that's going to do it from here. So glad you guys were able to join us live today. I appreciate it. Have a great weekend, and I will catch up with you hopefully next Thursday on week 11. I'll see you in the Facebook group in the meantime. Thanks, and bye for now.